Hello, everybody. Welcome to an early morning edition of the Disney Morning Show with myself, GB Mosley, co-founder here at Laughing Place, our managing. No, he doesn't do that. Our executive editorial director, Kyle Burbank. How you doing,
Hello.
Kyle?
I'm good. I'm
Still
still
go,
doing things,
still
but
going. That's
I've
fine.
made
That's
progress.
fine. Kyle is very busy. What it's amazing what he can do in 5 minutes. But we got some breaking news this morning. We're going to talk about. Kyle is the expert on all that. I see Benji is in the room. Does Benji plan to come on too and talk about this? Yeah, let's bring in Benji because I
Bring
know
on
he's
Benji. Hit that band.
well
We gotta
aware
hear
of
the
what's
noise.
going on. So
Unofficial.
Benji, we got we normally start with the stock price, the weather, but I feel like we should start with the breaking news today. So since Kyle's a little busy, Benji, why don't you get started?
So we got an update on the Cars area coming to Frontierland. The most immediate impact is the Rivers of America and its associated attractions will be closing on July 7th. Last day of operation will be July 6th. But they released this fun map of the area, and we had a briefing the other day, as in yesterday, where they kind of walked us through not necessarily all the specifics, but their thought, their intentionality. And I know that when it was announced at T23, people were a little concerned about, they're thinking Radiator Springs in Frontierland. I think some of the concept art was poorly designed that they showed. But they were very clear that they've sort of made sure that everything they're done is done through the sort of national park, specifically Colorado Rockies vibe. So it's going to feel very Wilderness Lodge, very Grizzly Peak recreation area, making sure they lean into what makes Frontierland the respite it's known to be.
Sorry, I'm very derelict here. We have that art, obviously, and let me get that on the screen while you continue.
But one of the fun things is that if you look at the map, there's still a lot of there's the drop, the barrel bridges, there's the geysers that you'll be able to walk through, and then on the corner here, you may be familiar with the Disney animation character J. Audubon Woodlore, who was sort of the friend, sometimes rival of Humphrey Bear. This is J. Autobahn, spelled like the German highway, Woodlore. And he'll be part of the pre-show experience of the Rally Race attraction that's coming to this area, which is Piston Peak. But it's not, Piston Peak is not a land. Piston Peak is a section of Frontierland, similar to how Storybook Circus or the Enchanted Forest is part of Fantasyland. They went through how Frontierland at Magic Kingdom is different than Frontierland at, let's say, Disneyland or Disneyland Paris, because it already sort of has different zones of different time periods. So you have Tiana's Bayou Adventure, 1920s New Orleans. You have the Country Bears, which are modern day sort of Tennessee style. You have 1800s American Southwest, right? Big Thunder Mountain. So it's just sort of a different amalgamation of different areas. So this is just another area within Frontierland, similar to how Caribbean Plaza is an area within Adventureland, or there's sort of like, I don't say mini land because that's sort of what they're saying not to say, but a zone within Frontierland. It is not overtaking Frontierland. It is not Radiator Springs. It is not Cars Land within Frontierland. It is a section of Frontierland that will feature the characters from Cars.
So this footprint we're looking at here, and I wanted to, not everyone knows the original character that's based on, so there we go. But
Tony also did a whole post about the connection, about J. Audubon and the connection between this character and him.
And I should mention, so we've got actually, I think, 6 posts total, Kyle?
6 posts, and also we have the first official installment of LP Pulse, which Alex did a breakdown of what we know about this area in a similar fashion to his Abu Dhabi video.
Okay, so that's a lot. After you watch this, go watch LP Pulse and get another summary of this. So this footprint, this art that we're looking at here, this essentially replaces the Rivers of America and everything within it right now.
Right. So you can see it's sort of an odd way to look at it. It's not as you would look at it on a park map. So you have Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Big Thunder on one side. They have Haunted Mansion on the other. And then the Piston Peak, sort of where Tom Sawyer Island is today.
Cool. And still tons and tons of water, which is nice to see.
Like they said they couldn't even remember the number of like waterfalls they have.
It looks like Cascade Peak over here making the trek out east.
Yeah, I don't know if you're able to zoom in, but if you zoom in to right here, you can see the Barrel Bridge. You can see sort of what looks like sort of a play area. They didn't go through every little detail, so we don't know exactly what's happening. But these geyser pools you'll be able to walk through. Not the ones on the right path, but
I didn't expect so much walkthrough. I don't know, for some reason I just pictured a giant ride and that was it. But it's nice that there's a lot of walkthrough area here.
And something Benji was saying that they said was that the family ride will be included in this area, but it's not called out in this map. So there's the thrill ride, the family thrill ride, and then another family ride that will be part of this, and that's in there somewhere, but it's not really clear.
So 2 attractions coming here and all this just additional guest area to kind of hang out in. And it's not a land. It's not a mini land. It is a section of Frontierland.
And it's not Frontierland. So sorry, Jeremiah. We're going to have to retire that.
So what else did we...
So that was actually a funny thing is someone asked like, D23, Mater called it Frontierland. And the guy in the manager's like, Mater was just joking. It was just like Mater making a joke. It's like when he try and watch them, like try and walk that line of like,
So just about logistics. So we know that the last day specifically of the river in general, Tom Sawyer Island, the riverboat will be July 6th. You said the last day of operation is July 6th. What about other affected attractions? What do we know?
So the train, which just reopened from Tiana Bayou Adventure construction, they're going to shuttle it. And they haven't done this for a while, but they did it in the past where they will go from Main Street to Fantasyland and Fantasyland to Main Street, kind of back and forth. And so, it's slow. Obviously, it slows everything down. One nice touch, though, is that they've reconfigured some of the carriages so that they'll be facing both ways. So if you're one of those people that needs to face forward when on a train or on a vehicle, for motion sickness reasons, you will be able to be accommodated.
That is very cool.
And we are obviously, everyone's aware that Starlight is opening July 20th. So they're going to be keeping the Riverwalk open for as long as possible, which is the sort of bridge bypass of the parade route, especially with Tiana's having recently opened and the parade being new.
Did we get any kind of time frame for this project?
No,
none whatsoever.
And the one thing about the train that we should, that's going to be for a while because we also got to do Villains Land. So
I'm very happy they're managing to keep it open. But that's just, it feels like the train was just down forever when they were doing Tron. Because it was. now we've got this.
And Tiana's.
It was turned into Disneyland Paris over there.
Crazy, but then Villains Land will be done, and there's no more. They're off the treadmill, and there's no more construction.
Yeah, well, let's hope not, right? Let's hope that they have to find unique ways to handle the train because there's so many new experiences being developed.
What did Kyle? I'm guessing you are now available. What did I miss?
I think so.
What did I miss?
What did you miss let me see.
Or what did we miss in our coverage?
Yeah, you covered a good amount of it. It is kind of funny. I just saw the Parks blog post for the first time. I'm like, oh, that was it, which we kind of were aware of. I think I'll give my personal opinion. I didn't hate on this project. I thought it was a little weird, Cars in Frontierland, but I'm not going to miss the Rivers of America. I do love that they kept all this water in this concept art. I hope that comes true, but this looks pretty nice, honestly, and in my opinion.
Well, and I was pretty vocal that like at Disneyland I wouldn't like this project. There, Frontierland's different. Frontierland has more happening. You have the 2 boats, you have the canoes, you have Fantasmic, obviously. Frontierland has a different sort of vibe because you have Critter Country. It kind of takes or Bayou Country, which has the sort of fantasy attractions, and then Frontierland is pretty, sort of Davy Crockett's Frontierland. But I think it's nice to have a place that people can cool down and relax, not necessarily temperature-wise, but sort of aesthetically. And I think more guests will be able to go here because there's not just one boat and a raft to Tom Sawyer Island. This will be a place that you can enter, and not an opening day, obviously, but once it kind of settles where it needs to be, you'll just be able to enjoy the moving water, the landscape in a park that is sort of famously has no trees. It'll be nice to have sort of a nice little nature preserve, of a manner speaking.
So, did you talk about the moniker Piston Peak and where that comes from?
No, so Piston Peak is inspired by Plains Fire and Rescue. However, it's not going to be the location from Plains Fire and Rescue. This is a Colorado Rockies thing, but it's the name and the sort of, there's going to be touches paying tribute to Plains Fire and Rescue, which was notably not made by Pixar. So
finally, Plains Fire and Rescue getting some love in the park.
So yeah, there's no like one-to-one recreations, is my understanding, but that you obviously, if you've seen that movie, which all 5 of you, you'll know that name.
I feel like that movie has like become sort of a sleeper hit.
My friend was obsessed with it when it came out. He's like, this is so good. Like, he goes to see every Disney movie and hates most of them, but he loved Fire and Rescue for some reason.
Sounds like a Disney fan, typical Disney fan. Question for you, for people somewhat new to this. What do we know about what attractions are coming to this area?
So there's going to be a rally
one, right?
Either one.
It took too long to answer. Go ahead.
There's the rally race one, which is I don't want to say it's like Radiator Springs Racers because it's definitely an off-roading style, but it's a racing attraction. We don't have a lot of details. They say that Jay Audubon with lore in the pre-show explains why this is happening, but we don't quite know the story of it. And then there's a family attraction, which we don't quite have many more details on.
I was looking for, because we don't really know what that attraction is going to look like, the main attraction, but they did release some artwork with the D23, right?
Yeah, but I don't know that. It's my understanding that some of that, the spirit of that artwork is still there, but they have made it better than it looks in that artwork.
Enough so that we thought, okay. All right. What else should we mention?
No, I mean, I think, this is the first sign outside of the Dinoland closure of stuff actually happening at Walt Disney World. So, there's a lot more to come, but
yeah, that announcement came I guess about 9 months ago. We got all that stuff 10 months ago, and finally stuff is happening. Walls are soon to be going up. Very exciting. But no time frame for when any of this happens, when any of it comes, but we do have the time frame for when stuff starts to go, which is not much notice, just over a month for you to get in your last rides on the riverboat.
How many people are going to be on Tom Sawyer Island on the last day just being like, oh, what am I supposed to do here again? Why am I sad about this?
I don't want anyone to get confused with, I know yesterday's sort of downer of the news. No cast members will lose their jobs because of this. They may not be they obviously won't be captaining the riverboat, but they will be having a job somewhere.
Moving the canoes.
Our downer news will be coming in a couple stories from now. So, don't worry, we're here to pull you down. It's not the best news to be on this.
Okay, so I think we are going to move on from this for now. We will recap it again later in the show.
We'll circle back after the holiday.
We'll circle back, but let's get to the normal show. So Benji will be saying goodbye for now, but not us. All right, Kyle. Let's start the show the way we do every show. All right, the stock price was $112.46 yesterday. Luke must be good luck. Good Luke. Oh, no new concept art on the investor relations page.
Oh, come on.
On the investor relations page, but the stock price is Wall Street loves the news.
People love cars.
I'm not sure Wall Street is reacting to the cars news, but it is up to 114.21, safely above 100, never ever to come down again. Kyle, what's next?
Ethan was busy today.
Really shocking.
Yeah, it's hot and muggy in Florida. It's probably pretty nice but warm in Anaheim, and the other ones are crapshoot. But let's get to what's happening. It's not the right one. This one is.
All right.
I was wondering why you were shaking your head. I was like, "What? Oh."
Like we kind of serious.
Before we get to the
changes
bad
how
news, let's
things
talk
go.
about some good news. Last week, we talked about how Disney Plus perks were going to be always on, meaning that there'd be different offers year round. Well, today they also launched Hulu perks. And some of the first ones are you can win a chance to, you'll get a chance to win tickets to Lollapalooza. You can also win tickets to San Diego Comic-Con, which is funny because Marvel just announced they're not doing their big Hall H thing, so you could go and not see that. But there's some other ones coming along the way, some perks inspired by The Handmaid's Tale, A Complete Unknown, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and Only Murders in the Building. And so, yeah, if you are a Hulu subscriber, you can check out Hulu perks and take advantage of them. And then Disney Plus perks, if you're a bundle subscriber, you get access to both. And then also, if you're interested, Marshall shares some of the Hulu perks that he would like to see in that article as well.
Does he really? What would Marshall like to see?
Well, I would have had to write those down. I only planned on giving up.
He wants to see Alien Earth or Shogun, the second season, on the big screen. That would be a great perk.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Fathom events that you access via perks.
And for a big ticket win, he wants to go see a tour of Chili's with Only Murders Martin Short.
Yeah, Doobie doesn't want that one.
You'll be okay without that one. All right. Over at Walt Disney World, there is a new Welcome Home Center at Fort Wilderness. This is located over by Pioneer Hall. And you can go check out what it's like inside one of these cool cabins that they've relatively recently opened at Fort Wilderness, and see if, you know what, now is the time for me to become a Disney Vacation Club member. So go inside and check it out.
Well, now we're going to get to the bad news that Benji was alluding to. Reports of some major layoffs at the Walt Disney Company have been revealed. Deadline estimates that there's several hundred employees that are going to be impacted across various divisions, but most of them within Disney Entertainment. And so that'll include like marketing for films and television, as well as television publicity, casting, and development. It doesn't sound like any entire divisions are being lifted out, just kind of spreading it out. But a lot of the employees will be in Los Angeles or the Los Angeles area. So our thoughts to them, and never fun.
Getting laid off is crappy. I thought of this too. This is my first thought when you said, go hang out on Times Square on the last day. The Yippies are taking over. We're not going anywhere. If you don't know what the Yippies are, you're too young. Way too young. All right. Black Panther fans, got some bad news for you. The long-awaited Black Panther video game being developed at Cliffhanger Games, a part of Electronic Arts, has been canceled as they are shuttering the studio. So it was announced almost 2 years ago, back in June of 2023. It was going to be an original third-person single-player game, and now it is going to be something that never comes to be. And finally, in this section, there is a lawsuit. And Kyle, feel free to chime in anywhere here. I just don't want to assign everything to you on a busy day. But someone is seeking more than $50,000 in damages from Disney after experiencing I'm quoting because this is a quote, not because I'm making fun, sustained enduring injuries after a trip to Blizzard Beach back in July of 2021. They're saying they went on one of the slides and they came off and came down and got injured. And they are noting that they are 34 pounds overweight of the posted 300-pound weight limit of the slide. Kyle, you have more on that.
So yeah, I was curious about that because when I saw this, I'm like, it makes sense that there's weight limits, but I wonder if those are posted like the height requirements and stuff. And I couldn't find them on the site. So I did some searching and I found a couple of posts, one from 2017, but one from 2022 from Plan Disney, which is, people ask questions and they answer them. And they seem to indicate that there wasn't weight limits for attractions at the water parks except for the chairlift, which I think was 375 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I read in the article, which is just incredibly interesting that I got injured because I went on an attraction with the weight limit, knowingly being overweight. And Kyle's research shows there is no weight limit for the. I hope there is more of this story to come out. If there's a way to can you go to followlawsuits.com and put a check mark on this one so you get any new news that comes out?
Is that a thing?
I don't know. It's not.
You need to code that.
Project idea. But, yeah, very, very, very interesting story. Blizzard Beach. First on Around LP, as we mentioned earlier, Alex has a breakdown of the Piston Peak news and all the surrounding stuff that just came out this morning. So you can go watch that on the latest edition of, do we have a name for this? Laughing Place Pulse. I like that name. Laughing Place Pulse. That is a really good name. But in addition to that,
how long
Bill,
did the video end up being?
That's a good question. Let's see.
I read the script
8:31.
and it was a lengthy script. So
8 minutes and 31 seconds, including POV barrel bridge. So not obviously, but I haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm sure you did a great job. Our resident, is this the only Canadian on our team? Bill?
Yeah, as far as I know.
So our resident Canadian has edition number 4 of the Sarsaparilla Times, this time covering King Arthur Carousel. He calls it King Arthur Carousel is theme park royalty, and he gives you a lot of stuff you may not have known about the attraction, including the fact that this beloved Disneyland attraction originally operated at Sunnyside Amusement Park in Toronto, Canada. So, of course, Bill has to focus on its Canadian origin.
Well, and also going more inside LP, as the editor, I needed to decide whether, because the attraction name has 2 R's, whether I would use the 2 R's for every other use of the lowercase carousel. And I decided, no, I needed to go to 1 because it was going to drive me crazy. But Alex also got a chance to interview Vincent Martella. He's the voice of Phineas on Phineas and Ferb, and also the white kid on Everybody Hates Chris. That's what I learned from this.
Is that his actual title in that show?
I think so. I think his character is the white kid. No, he's friends with Chris. And he also, it's kind of interesting as Alex asks him, he was on Phineas and Ferb. Now that's coming back. He was on Everybody Hates Chris, and now he does a bunch of voices on the new animated show Everybody Still Hates Chris. So 2 of these projects from his past when he was much younger are now coming around again, and that's pretty cool. But you can watch Alex's interview but not and/or. You can also listen to that interview on this week's episode of the Laughing Place on Balance podcast.
I was looking for that watch, and I just didn't scroll far enough. There it is. Yeah, you can watch it. You can also read it. We have the full transcript. So however you like
however you want to consume this interview, we've got you.
You got it. And here's what we prefer. We prefer you to press play on the video and then go read along while you listen to it. That helps us 2 ways.
And then finally, I threw this on there at the last second. Like I said, Tony did a closer look at Jay Autobahn Woodlore and the new character, also named Jay Autobahn, but spelled differently, Woodlore. So you can learn more about that and some of the other connections that the Cars universe has had with this character before. Spoiler alert, it's Cars 3, where Mater's doing the Humphrey Hop. So yeah.
I love this. Love this angle. Way to go, Tony, and whoever said, Tony, do that angle. Let us go ahead and do This Day in Disney History, and then we will recap the morning news and be done. And this is a short one. I've only got 2 for you today, Kyle. On this day in Disney history, Doobie clicked the wrong link, went back and clicked the right link. On this day, June 3rd of 2011, an attraction opened at the Disneyland Resort. It replaced another attraction that is essentially the same attraction, just not as good an attraction because this is a better version of the attraction.
Wow. What year?
2011.
At the Disneyland Resort.
The Disneyland Resort, although there might be a version of it at other resorts. This one is at the Disneyland Resort.
Okay. Because what I was thinking was Mermaid, because we talked about that yesterday.
Okay, so that also happened on this day in Disney history, but so you got the second part first. Let's go back to the first one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else happened that day. A better version of something.
I think it's a better version. I'm sure some people think it's a worse version.
Okay.
I have no idea what Dan Benji's doing down there. That's supposed to give you a hint.
But you said the Disneyland Resort, so it doesn't have to be DCA.
It's actually Disneyland.
Okay. Now we're cooking with gas.
Never mentioned how much I hate that phrase.
Why am I not surprised?
Cooking with gas. Is it that much better? I mean, it is better than electric, but enough to have a phrase dedicated to it? It has more than 51 varieties.
Okay, Star Tours?
Yes, it is Star Tours. Open on
The Adventures Continue?
The Adventures Continue with an S. The Adventures Continue open on this day. What was it? Was it 51, 53? I can't remember, but when they opened
I think it was 54 because it was like two openings and then 3 first planets, 27 times 2, 54.
54. But I swear they advertised it over 53 ways to go. Which, yeah, that means what? Anyway, all right. Let's bring Mr. Ben back on here and let us do a recap of the big news.
Recap button
for anyone coming in late. Benji did it the first time. Kyle, tell us what's happening.
So we got more details on the new Cars-themed area coming to Frontierland. To be clear, this is part of Frontierland. The Piston Peak name is just kind of the name of the area. Think of it as a sub-land, but not its own land. And they explained, as Imagineers explained, while Disneyland's and Disneyland Paris's especially are very clearly Old West, that is what their Frontierland is. Magic Kingdoms has always been more nuanced with lots of locations. I learned that the Diamond Horseshoe is apparently St. Louis, and then now you have Louisiana and stuff like that. So this will be it's basically the real Frontierland is the friends we made along the way, that sort of a thing, where it's the spirit of wilderness and whatever. So that's how this is going to fit in. It's taking inspiration from the Colorado Rockies and national park architecture. We know that there's going to be 2 attractions. The rally one is kind of seen here. The one that's going to be a more family-friendly ride, the tamer ride, is going to be somewhere in there, but it's not really called out. The Rivers of America attractions, including Tom Sawyer Island and the Riverboat, will be closed. The last day of operation will be July 6th. Starting July 7th, the Magic Kingdom Railroad will go into shuttle mode, going between Main Street USA and Fantasyland, and then just going back and forth. They'll reverse some of the seats, so if you have motion sickness and don't like going backwards, you can still be facing forwards when that happens. And we don't know when this project is all going to open, but basically it's going to start getting underway here in the next month. And that character is inspired by Jay Audubon.
Yes, there he is in the bottom right. Antonio.
Yeah, lots of water features, some painted, some almost callbacks to Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland with the rainbow cavern or rainbow things.
Right. Did I miss anything or not? Did he miss anything, Ben? Anything else? Any final? I know you got to visit WDI kind of related to this. Anything you wanted to mention?
No, I can't really talk about specific people, but I want to just say that I really feel like the Imagineers they have working on this project really do care. They're some of the biggest fan Imagineers out there. So, it was sort of, I get the sense that the concept art that they showed at D23 was kind of like their first pass by somebody. Then when they kind of created the team and they tackled it, everyone started delving into it. It's evolved into something I think will be fit Frontierland a lot more, and I think they're being very intentional about all those concerns that you heard on the fan community. The Imagineers are aware of those concerns and are doing everything they can to make sure those are not concerns when the land opens. Yeah,
didn't you in your piece you talked about like sight lines and noise even, right?
Yeah, so they even talked about they may change the mix of the cars, the audio sound, so that when you're whizzing by certain areas, you can't hear it versus louder areas where it might make more sense. So, yeah, they are engaged on those items, and I think I think it should be fun.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for today. Thank you for joining us. Yes, there is absolutely trivia tonight. So join us at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. Is there Barely today?
Yes.
Barely Necessities at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Anything else, or just a 3-show Tuesday?
Did you say 4:30? It's at 4.
Why I do that every single time.
I was just making sure you might have. I didn't know. If
I know. I said 4:30. Yes. If I ever say it after trivia, I do that. At 4 p.m. Pacific, is Barely Necessities, the Disney merchandise show with Becca and
Rebecca.
Oh, okay.
I thought.
I mean, if she didn't tell you she's not, then she is. So coming to you from Ohio, and then Kyle Burbank will be playing trivia. You want to write another contest?
Maybe.
Kyle Burbank will be playing trivia. So if you like Kyle, get in the chat today at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. And if you don't, then find something else to do. See you tomorrow.
Bye. Oh, I have to hit the thing first now. Hold on. Sorry. I'm still getting used to my programming.